Hey guys, what's up? Tonight I wanted to have a discussion really quick that I'm hoping to get a lot of feedback about because I've been talking about it a lot with a lot of my friends and other people. Some people who messaged me, and this goes back to what I had in my top 10 NES games, hardest NES games, and what it takes for me to say that something's difficult. So recently, I have had some games I've been playing that are difficult or said to be difficult. And I'm trying to beat recently Bayou Billy on NES, Battletoads on NES, which I completed. And then I've been playing games in the past that lead up to this, like Ghosts and Goblins on the NES or Cuphead on Xbox. I played it. And a couple of my friends told me I need to play the Dark Souls series, and then I've heard about the Bloodborne series and things like that. And I'm also playing Super Meat Boy, who's said to be kind of a difficult game to like 100%. So that I'm working on that right now as well and having a lot of fun with it. So a lot of people ask me about my top 10, like why were some games not on the list? And I'll talk to some games. I'll talk about some games in specific, and one of them is Ghosts and Goblins. Now, guys, when I'm talking about a hard game, okay, I'm talking about a game that gives me a rush. A game that gives me a rush because it has a lot of pressure tied to it, is how I'll say it. That's really making me have to come through clutch and putting the pressure on me to where, look, you either beat this right now or, you know, I'm going to get game over and I got to start all over and I want to beat it so bad and I have to go all the way back and do everything else again. And maybe everything else, like on Battletoads, is extremely difficult too at times. So doing it all over again is not easy. And a game like Ghosts and Goblins was not on there because, well, you have unlimited lives. So, though I think retro games are harder back than games nowadays with some of the other games I'll get to also. And I'll tell you why. But Ghosts and Goblins wasn't on there because I have unlimited lives. You know, your Mega Mans weren't on there because you have unlimited lives. You have unlimited continues and stuff. So to me, you're not ever really pressured to do well, other than just wanting to get it over with and wanted to get it beat. But you're not really, nothing's on the line. It'd be like if I was playing sports and I had to go out and there was 10 seconds left and we're playing basketball and I have to hit the game-winning shot to win it all. The thing that makes that difficult in sports is you got one shot. You got one shot to do it. It's not like you can turn back time and do it again. If you had unlimited shots, like unlimited lives, it wouldn't be very hard, would it? It might be hard to actually do it, but you have unlimited amount of attempts to do it, which would take away that nervousness, that pressure, that, you know, you're sweating the whole NES, sweating on your palms and getting all over your controller and having to pause the game because you got to think about it and not want to screw up because then you got to do it all over again thing. All of that is gone when you're talking about things like Mega Man, where you have passwords, or like the first one, which I say is the hardest. You know, you have unlimited continues, though. So there's really no pressure other than you maybe being angry that you want to get it done. The game behind me, Castlevania, you have unlimited continues. So it's not really a matter of being pressure. It's just a matter of getting it done and over with. And one thing I'll say this, though, about or like retro compared to nowadays is, at least on these games, you can't necessarily save your game like on Castlevania. You can't save your game. So you either have to finish it as you sit down, or you have to go through it all again. And if you find this difficult, you don't want to fight the Grim Reaper again. You don't want to fight Frankenstein again. Whatever you think's difficult, you may not want to do it again. Ghosts and Goblins, you don't want to freaking go through all those levels again. You already got to go through them twice because you got to beat the game 2 times around. So that makes it a little bit difficult because you don't know how much time you have, or you don't want to leave your NES on, or things like that. And, you know, there's no save states, there's no save spots, there's no passwords, there's nothing that can get you right back to where you want to be. So I can see that being a little bit of pressure, because you don't want to shut off your system and have to freaking do it all over again. But I still don't think that's difficult, because if you know that going into it, and you know this game's hard, I'm going to need this much time, well then you just say, okay, tonight I'm going to sit down, I got freaking 5 hours, and I'm going to freaking beat this game, and I'm not going to stop till I do. That's plenty of time to do it, because at the same time with those retro games, they're not that long. So this will bring me back to my point here on the modern games that they say are hard. And let me be the first to say that, first of all, it seems like with modern games, I love how they're doing this, like, coming out with these games that are difficult. It's almost like a genre now. And I think that's really, really, really cool. That you got Cuphead, that was known to be like, okay, hey, man, this is not a game the kids play. You know, the kids are going to get their ass kicked if they play this. Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Bloodborne. Even Meat Boy. They're not going to beat those games. If Peyton turns on Meat Boy, Peyton's going to be lucky to get to the 4th level, and there's 300. You know, he's not going to beat it because he literally doesn't have that skill set to do it. I mean, he's a little kid. So I think that retro's harder, though. I'll get to that point, but I'm glad. I'm trying to handle this in order. Sorry. I'm glad that that's like a genre now. I think that's really cool. Finally, they're taking the gloves off once in a while, and this game's going to be freaking hard. And a lot of times throughout the past, like, 10 years, I just felt like every new game was easy. Everything's easy. There was just all these checkpoints and all these okay, Call of Duty on Veteran. Okay, well, there's a checkpoint every battle. So you get past this part in the room where it's hard, and then a checkpoint. I only got to beat it once then, and they were so quick and they were so close together that it was never hard. It's just a matter of getting through it one time. So I do think, though, and this is kind of my argument, this is kind of the point of the, it's to follow up on my top 10, but it's also to talk about what I think's actually hard, like what it takes for a game to be hard. And basically nowadays with the new games, I don't find any of those to be difficult. And I'll explain why. And just let me know if you disagree. When I'm playing Cuphead, it might be really hard, and there might be this boss that's just killing me over and over and over again. But at the end of the day, when I die, all I gotta do is freaking respawn, and I'm going back at it again. Or when I'm playing Super Meat Boy, there might be a map that's really, really hard to jump through all this stuff and all these things that kill you, but I gotta beat it once. And after I beat it once, that's it, and it respawns me immediately. I die, it blows me up or something, I get hit with a missile, I respawn. Simple. So just keep going. Don't get mad. Okay, that's easy. So then if I've never played Dark Souls or Bloodborne, but I would imagine it's the same thing. Okay, this boss is killing me freaking 20 times. Okay, cool, I'll beat him on the 21st time. After I beat the boss, it saves it. Oh my god, that's really hard. So I just don't think that's difficult, guys, and that's for me not to say that it's cocky or anything, because I get messages like that too. Oh, have you played Dark Souls? I have friends at work. Have you played Dark Souls? It's like, guys, I'm sorry, it's not hard. Like, I'm not trying to say that, you know, maybe that you're not good or something like that, but I mean, I'm sorry, if you consider that hard, I just don't think it is, because there's no pressure. There's no pressure. It's just, I could sit down and I can save my game pretty much whenever, and if I'm getting angry or something, all I gotta do is turn it off and come back to it. Simple. So, to revert back to retro, and then I'm talking about games like Ghosts and Goblins and stuff, I don't think that's hard either. Because the hardest part of that game is dying and then having to listen to the piano. Without wanting to try again. That's the hardest part, and the fact that, like I said, you can't turn off the game. To me, a game like Ghosts and Goblins is harder than Cuphead, Meat Boy, Dark Souls, and Bloodborne, because you can turn all of those games off. I know they're longer, but the point is, at any point in time, I can turn it off and come back to it. If I'm getting pissed off at Ghosts and Goblins, and I'm at that level right before the last boss, and it seems like it takes some luck to get through it, if I turn that off, I have to beat everything prior to that again. Now I have to devote all that time to it again, whether it took me 3 hours to get there or whatever, because everybody's skill set's different. Now I have to do that all over again, especially if I'm on the second playthrough. Or say, like, the lights go out or something. Now I have to do it all over again. Say somebody comes up and bumps the NES and it freezes it. Now I got to do it all over again. So there's a lot of pressure with trying to get it done. You know what I'm saying? But that's as hard as it goes in Ghosts and Goblins. It's really not that hard, because it's the defense with arguing that the retro game is easier is that it's shorter. They're like, yeah, but if you get good at Ghosts and Goblins, you can beat Ghosts and Goblins in a couple hours. Sure, that's a fair argument. You have to put in a lot of time, I feel like, to know exactly where every enemy is and have the right weapon and know what you're doing. But sure, you could catch on to it that quickly. But then also, when we're talking about games, and then we go back to, why isn't Mega Man on my list? Guys, Mega Man 1's the only one that's the same thing. You have to beat it the first time you sit down. If you shut it off, you got to go back through all that stuff again. It's not hard, though. None of it's hard. Mega Man's a lot of trial and error. Like, okay, I got to use this weapon versus this guy. I got to use this weapon versus this guy. That's really all it is. You write that down. Okay, the scissors kill this. The ice kills this. The fire kills this. And then there you go. You're going to run through the game like I did a playthrough of Mega Man 1 the other day. It's simple, man. So, that's just me. I'm not trying to downgrade anybody or sound ridiculously cocky, but I've gotten a lot of questions asking, well, then what do you think's hard? I've talked to NES Addict about this stuff. Well, I can't believe this wasn't on your list, I think he said Ghosts and Goblins. And it's like, well, that's why. Because at the end of the day, there's no pressure in having to beat it. Now, I just recently beat something, Battletoads. Battletoads doesn't have a limited continues. So when you get all the way to the end, if it would have uploaded, you guys would have seen my struggles with getting all the way damn near to the last boss, like jumps away and dying and having to start all over till finally I beat it, and having to get through all that stuff again. That is not necessarily easy. Having to memorize a lot of the game, because there's a lot of trial and error. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to know what's coming. That stuff's kind of difficult. That's what it takes for me to be a hard game. When I was at the Dark Queen and I had 2 lives left, and if I died, I had to go all the way down to the bottom of the tower and hope to God I could get up there with 3 lives or so to go after the Dark Queen with 3 lives. Otherwise, every life I'm taking hits on, I got to go up to her and try to beat her with like 1 life or something. Well, Jesus Christ, that's very little amount of error, and if I keep screwing up, I got to go all the way back to the first level now. So that's the pressure I'm talking about. That's the thing that's hard, and that's just nowadays. It's gone. That's a thing of the past, which is why I just don't think that anything new is hard. I think it's all easy. I'm playing Super Meat Boy right now, and I'm in the 4th out of 5 worlds, and there's some extra stuff and everything. But sure, there's been hard levels. Sure, a level that's killed me probably 30 times. But, at the number 31, I beat it, and now I'm done with it, and I move on to the next. It's not hard. The only thing that's stopping you from beating games like that is you're giving up. And when I want to beat something, I don't give up. So, there's another game I think's hard is like Ninja Gaiden 3. The reason that's the hardest in the trilogy is because you don't have unlimited continues. There's that pressure. There's that pressure of how many continues have I used, how many do I have left, and I'm getting my ass kicked on this part. And if I die on all this, now I got to go all the way back to the beginning of the game, and I got to do it all over again. And maybe getting there is not easy, you know. So, like I said, you have to study the game, know what's coming up. There's gonna be things that just kill you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, Ninja Gaiden 1 that they talk about is so difficult, and yes, it was not on my list, is because you have unlimited lives. Well, yeah, stuff can get annoying, but who cares? Just keep playing. You know what I'm saying? Just memorize the level, focus, and even if you wanted to, you could take a break and you could walk away from your NES and you can come back. Okay, cool, I'm on the last level still. Let's see if I can beat it this time. You know, the only thing that's hard about Ninja Gaiden 1 is if you die on the last boss, then now it takes you back to the beginning of pretty much that world. I think it'd be the beginning of that act, is what they call it in that game. But still, that happens all the time. It happened to me a lot when I was playing it because, you know, I don't look up how to beat bosses or what's coming up and things like that. So, sure, I died on the last boss many a times. There's 3 phases, and I died in every phase. Well, guess what? Every time I died on each phase, I had to go back. But see, then you end up getting so good at playing that last act that it's really not that hard. It's really not. It's pretty easy. And especially if you look up tricks on how to beat the game. Good lord, I just watched a Let's Play of Ninja Gaiden, and I seen a way to kill last boss, and I'm like, a power-up just kills him in like 1 hit. I'm like, okay, well, that was easy. Because now it's really easy. Holy crap, if I play that game again, I'm going to stomp it, you know? So that's part of the reason too why I don't look anything up, because I don't want to have those shortcuts. I want to battle through it, and I want to figure it out, and I want to do it for me. You know, I want to do it like it was back in, you know, it's 1990 and I'm playing the game and I want to beat it. You know, that's kind of how I do it. And whichever way you do it's fine. I don't hold that against anybody. But guys, that's where I'm kind of going on this. I think that retro is still a lot harder. I think people that think that Dark Souls is hard, I think if you want a real challenge and you really want to come back and play something that you really tests out your skills, that really lets you feel accomplished, beat some of these NES games. I mean, beat Battletoads. You should feel very accomplished after that. Beat, you know, look at my top 10 and beat, Rad Racer's so short, so I wouldn't say that. But even beat Ghosts and Goblins and stuff. Beat those games that are supposedly hard. But, you know, Ninja Gaiden 3, where you don't have unlimited continues, and you gotta just have a good run. If you want that, like, your hands shaking, your hands sweating, having to pause the game and think about stuff, if you want to be in that kind of situation, then retro is going to be the way to go. I just don't think there'd ever be a time when I got to pause the game on Meat Boy and just go, oh man, I got to do this. God, I got to do this. I can't believe this. You know, there's no situation where it's that serious. And I miss that. I miss that. I wish it was like that. I wish on Cuphead I had to beat like 5 bosses in a row or something at one point on Expert, and that's the only way to beat it, is maybe the last boss has 4 bosses or something, and it's just like, oh my god, you gotta beat all those bosses, otherwise when you die this many times it throws you back here. Holy shit, you know, that's difficult. That's difficult. And maybe I'm wrong, because sometimes when I was getting some of those achievements on Cuphead, I was getting achievements that only 1% of people that played the game have gotten. Maybe it is hard, man, but a lot of messages and a lot of talks I've had with friends are asking me. So everybody that's hitting me up on Instagram, I felt like it was easier instead of just typing to people, and instead of just doing stuff like that, people that are in the comments, people that I've talked to personally, Jay when he voxes me, you know, that it was easy for me to make a video about it, but I'm not trying to come off as cocky or anything, but that's why my list was so obscure and weird, because to me, I thought about what game do I put into my system, and I go, oh shit, here we go. You know, let me try to beat this. You know, this game's a pain in my ass, you know, and there's a reason why nowadays, I still haven't beaten some of them. That's why. It's not easy. You really got to devote time to it. You really have to get good at it. GIT, get good, brah. You know, you have to get good at stuff. So, I just wanted to answer that question. Let me know what you guys think, man. Maybe you think modern games are harder. If you do, tell me why. Maybe you stopped these games and something about the new games gets you really into it and you think's really difficult. Or maybe maybe Cuphead, you just can't beat it. You just can't beat it and you're going to tell me why. And okay, you know, that's fine. Everybody has an opinion. So I just wanted to cover that with everybody on what I think is actually hard. So bottom line of the point of this video is I still think if you're looking for a real challenge, you go retro. I still think that there's nothing more than NES hard. NES hard, there's nothing like it. I know they're trying nowadays, but you need to get rid of the save states, you need to get rid of the checkpoints, and you need to make these games differently or make these checkpoints more sparingly. You need to make it to where it is hard to get through there. Like, if you think Dark Souls is so hard, maybe you got to beat 3 bosses before you get a checkpoint or something. I have not played it. It may sound stupid. I'm just saying that's my example of it. Cuphead, maybe I should have had to beat 3 bosses in one thing to get to the next area. Maybe that's what you'd have to do. Because right now, I like where the difficulty is and I have fun with it, but I still don't think it's very difficult. I don't feel extremely accomplished when I beat Cuphead on Expert. I was just like, cool, I beat it. Ready for the next game. Let me go play this. Let me go play this. I didn't feel like when I beat Battletoads, I was like, holy crap, you know, you guys can watch my reaction when I beat it. That was insane. I was like, holy crap, I finally did it. Whew, you know, that's what I look for, and I want a game to give me that type of reaction. That's what I want out of it. So, let me know what you think. I'm going to get to playing here. I'm going to play something. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe Castlevania. Probably not. But I'll see you guys later. Leave me a comment. Let me know. Later.